Palworld is a lighthearted game about making friends, building yourself a home, and stuffing animals into rocket launchers to rain fire upon your enemies. As you progress through the game, you'll travel to exotic locations, meet interesting people, and murder a woman in cold blood whose only crime was a high body count. Yeah, that's the duality of Palworld, a game that presents as a candy-coated, edgy creature collector or Pokemon with guns, but actually ends up being a Trojan horse for some kinda depraved, fucked up shit, making it closer to something like Ark or RimWorld. Now that the game's out of early access, I set out to find just how far the game would let me go, and as I dove deeper and deeper into the abyss, I found myself doing things that made me genuinely question my humanity. In the first 5 minutes of the game, you come to this overlook and get a glimpse of the intriguingly beautiful world that Pocket Pair has created. Sprawling hills of vibrant green, an ominous volcanic landscape, and a mysterious giant tree that may hold the secrets to this world. And then you turn around and punch a cat in the face. Immediately, the game breaks from genre predecessors by letting you attack and kill the pals yourself. Whether that's actually more or less moral than capturing them and making them fight for you is up for debate, but I had to admit it was kind of fun walking around the starting area and just pummeling pals with my fists. I then took some time to get my bearings, catching a few pals, setting up my base, and learning the game's many mechanics. One of those mechanics is called partner skills, which are essentially combination actions or attacks between you and your pal. Probably the most useful example is the mount skill, which lets you ride a pal and move a lot faster through the world. And there's nothing weird there, we've been domesticating animals for that for thousands of years. Partner skills is kind of a funny term though, because while it makes it sound like a fun collaboration between you and your pal, some of these skills are less about that and more about using them as a weapon with blatant disregard for their well-being. Like, you can pick up Jolt Hog and throw it like a grenade. You can stuff Pengullet into a rocket launcher and fire it, causing it to explode and die. Or hold Lamball out in front of you like a fuzzy little meat shield while it struggles and panics. The devs seem to really have it out for this pal in particular. It was featured on their official YouTube channel in a short animation that's just brutally dark. Before we dive deeper into the murky waters of depravity, we have to talk about one of the main features of the game, which is the labor exploitation. And that's probably the lightest term I can use for it, besides bringing friends home and gainfully employing you. See, your captured pals aren't just willing to fight and die for you, but they can also be assigned to work at your base while you go traipsing around the world. And the pals seem genuinely happy to do this, for the most part. Because every pal has its own sanity meter, and you can actually force them to work harder and in poorer conditions. Since the pals are thinking and feeling beings, they can get stressed out, sick, or even depressed.
How can you be depressed? I built you a hot tub.
Now you can craft medicine to heal them, or you can take the easier route. Lock them away into the pal box forever and replace them with one of the hundreds of other pals that you've already caught. Because that's the thing about Palworld, catching pals is the easiest thing in the game, and you never have a shortage of them. It's actually crafting stuff that takes time and effort, and wait, is this some kind of meta social commentary about the world and all the horrifying ways in which it works? Well, let's not look too closely at that. On to tier 2. Palworld's a messed up place, but the pals themselves aren't really an exception to that. For some, there's not much more than meets the eye. The chicken pal is a chicken, the lamb ball is a lamb in the shape of a ball, and the sexual assault pal is just a sexual assault pal.
Wait, what?
Pal number 69, nice, is Lavender, a pal that chases after other pals and humans seeking a night of love. Probably the most disturbing thing about Lavender is that when killed, it drops juices, cake, which you need for breeding pals, and memory-wiping medicine. And it doesn't stop there. You have Hangyu, who looks innocent enough, but was used to tear the skin from criminals in public executions. Matsurina gets milk regardless of its gender. Think about that one for a sec. Nightwing fosters baby pals as its own. Aw. Then eats them. And Koijiro's fellow pals force it to take its own life. Reading some of these descriptions had me rationalizing that maybe the pals really are better off in captivity. That is, until I crafted a meat cleaver. A meat cleaver is a funny thing. There's nothing inherently bad about it. It doesn't know right from wrong. It just is. The same way a screwdriver can't be evil. It's the person holding the cleaver that, at least temporarily, makes it more than that. I held off on crafting the cleaver for a while because it felt like crossing a line that I couldn't come back from. My morbid curiosity got the best of me though, because how could I make a video like this and not include it? Besides, I had way too many pals, and butchering them gives you crafting items, so... Oh no. Oh no. No.
Oh, God.
Well, at least they censor it. Except, Does that actually make it worse? Because by censoring it, they're kind of banking on the idea that the viewer can't imagine something worse than what they're censoring. And then that puts the responsibility on me, said viewer, to not conceive of the horrors beyond the mosaic blur. And I don't mean to brag or anything, but I can imagine some pretty horrible shit. Still, it wasn't as bad as what I discovered in Tier 3. You aren't alone on the island with these pals. It's not a Tom Hanks and Castaway sort of situation. You meet some pal tamers on the road, a diverse set of characters in settlements, including different kinds of merchants. Besides all these people though, there are a couple of groups that constantly try to fuck up your day. One of them being the Syndicate. The Syndicate are a mysterious criminal organization that just kind of pop up wherever you go. They attack you on sight, giving you no choice but to flee or smash them into the dirt. Or that's what I thought, until there's no fucking way. Oh shit, it works. That's right, you can catch humans inside the same spheres you use to catch pals, which just opens up a whole new set of questions, some with horrible implications. I went back to my base and found that I could put my newly acquired syndicate thug, Jimothy, to work, mining for ore, watering plants, and chopping down trees right alongside my pals. And I started to rationalize. This is fine. He deserves it anyway. He's evil. He tried to kill me. They're putting pals in cages for Christ's sake. What sort of monster would imprison a poor defenseless pal? So, of course, I went out and caught more syndicate members. And I made a new second base where they could work and pay off their debt to society, rehabilitating them to one day be reintegrated as good, productive citizens. Or else, on Palpagos Island, capturing humans in pal spheres is considered inhumane. On Palpagos Island, implying that elsewhere, it's totally cool. Catch humans in spheres all you want, no problem. Just don't do that shit here. In my exuberance to help rehabilitate every single syndicate thug on the island, I ended up with more than I knew what to do with, which left me with a couple of options. I could release them back into the wild, where they would surely continue their evil ways, or
No! Wait!
That kind of got boring though and took way too long, but I did have another idea, the Black Marketeer. The Black Marketeer is a shady trader that you can find out in the wilds, presumably because he's not allowed in settlements. I took along a gaggle of Jimothys and he was more than happy to take them off my hands for a pretty good price. Looks like meat's on the menu today, Jesus fucking Christ. Later I found out that you don't even need the Black Marketeer, you can just sell them in settlements to a regular guy. So catching humans is frowned upon on the island, but buying and selling them, it's fine, no problem. Why is he sitting on a guillotine? Why does that chair have spikes on it? Let's get out of here. You know, somewhere in all this, a question did occur to me. If the Syndicate are truly evil and exploitative, why aren't they just catching people in pal balls? Is it that they can't, or is it something too evil for even the Syndicate to do? Oh no.
Are we the baddies?
Well, it's too late for me. I've come too far to turn back now. Coming to grips with the error of my ways, but still unwilling to release the Jimothys back into the wild where they can keep doing damage, I decided to at least try and make their stay more comfortable. This way they can relax and walk about their cages, observation cubes. Still, I had way too many Jimothys on my hands and no idea what to do with them, plus they were lagging the shit out of my game. So I looked to my handy builder's guide for inspiration and I found the answer. Me and my Jimothys set to work, building the vessel of their salvation, their last beacon of hope. And together, we humanely condensed them all into one Super Jimothy. Now this does bring up some kind of uncomfortable questions. Is Super Jimothy a new individual person with his own personality? Or does he retain the memories, the thoughts, the hopes and dreams of all Jimothys? Are they all locked away in that big super brain of his, screaming to be let out, to go back to their own selves and not the horrifying amalgamation that is Super Jimothy? Who knows? Crime doesn't pay, kids. Jimothy, no! Anyway, having scraped my way to the absolute darkest depths of this game, I had to actually go outside of it to find the last thing on this list. And I gotta warn you, it's truly horrifying. A concept so bad shouldn't even be mentioned. They're making a Palworld dating sim. Actually looks kind of good, like a Doki Doki Literature Club sort of thing.